My husband allowed his brother to propose to his girlfriend at our wedding. And this is all despite the fact that I said no, this is not gonna happen. But now that my worst fears have come true, and after running out of my wedding in a fit of rage, I'm now considering divorcing my husband as I feel completely betrayed. Here's what happened. Okay, for starters, this is a throwaway account, and all the names in this story have been changed. I married my sweet husband Liam last Saturday, and it was perfect, except for one major hiccup during the reception. Liam has an older brother by the name of Ben, and they are very close. So it was no surprise when Liam asked Ben to be his best man. While I like most of my new in-laws, Ben has always rubbed me the wrong way with his behavior. He would crack all of these jokes that aren't really funny and tries way too hard to be the cool and popular guy. He's kinda like Screech from Saved by the Bell, only 10 times more annoying. To be honest, I feel somewhat sorry for Ben. Liam was diagnosed with high-functioning autism when he and Ben were kids, and as a result, their parents lavished more time and attention on Liam. This led to Ben being emotionally neglected, and as a result, he acted out big time in his teenage years. He got into a lot of trouble, and this led to their parents swinging the pendulum in the opposite direction, lavishing all their attention on Ben. Now, Liam kept his head down and didn't say anything, and to this day, their parents are more likely to side with Ben than with Liam. Now, Liam is a very sweet guy, as I mentioned. Unfortunately, he is a bit of a people pleaser and doesn't really understand social etiquette and social cues very well. It has caused some problems, but I don't regret knowing him or even marrying him. 4 weeks ago, Liam and I were having dinner with his parents and Ben, and everything was fun, and we were all talking about plans outside the wedding. And that's when Ben revealed that he had plans to ask his girlfriend by the name of Melody if she would marry him. And mind you, they'd been dating for 5 years. Now, of course, we were all excited and asked about his plans for the proposal. And that's when Ben turned to Liam and said something I honestly never expected. He said to him,
"I was hoping to do it at your reception."
Now, when I heard that, I just laughed nervously. Knowing his tendency to make bad jokes, I told him, well, if you do that, any of my brothers would probably throw you out of the venue. But when I said that, Ben got offended that I laughed, and I realized that he was being serious. Now, instead of asking me what I thought, which he's pretty good about doing, Liam said, "Of course you can, Melody will love it." I touched Liam's arm and I said, "We'll talk about it later." And he didn't understand why I was so upset, but I just wanted to get out of there, as my mother-in-law and father-in-law were too busy congratulating Ben, and I would not be able to tell Liam why it was such a bad idea. So Liam and I moved to a different room, and I explained to him about how another person proposing or making a major announcement was really in bad taste, as it takes away from the bride and groom. Well, when Liam heard that, he nodded and he was crestfallen. Feeling sorry for him, I said to him, "How about this? We organize a party with Ben for him to propose to Melody. That way, it could be far more memorable." Well, Liam liked the idea and we both went out. We went up to Ben and I told him that we were willing to help organize a special party so he can propose to Melody there, while also making it clear that he was not to propose at our wedding. Well, Ben nodded to what we said, and I thought that that was the end of it, but honestly, I couldn't have been more wrong. Saturday rolls around and the day goes off without a hitch. We get everything done and it's now time for the reception. And Ben, as the best man, has a speech prepared for us. It was full of bad jokes and weird attempts at puns, but it was overall very nice. But part of Ben's speech was to move around the tables, which really should have been a red flag, but I decided to not say anything. And at the end of the speech, Ben stopped at Melody and proposed to her. When this happened, I was so mad that I stormed out. Liam and my mom came to comfort me, and Liam apologized over and over again. He just kept saying over and over again that they told him it would be fine. Now, I was just so done at that point. My mom offered to drive me home, and Liam just kept begging for forgiveness, but I said to him quite bluntly, "Don't call me, I will call you." And after I said that, I left. Needless to say, Liam and I haven't seen each other since. My side of the family is angry at Liam and his family, but his family, on the other hand, are congratulating Ben and Melody, and most of their Facebook feed are pictures of Ben's proposal. Now, I was prepared to file for annulment and move on, all the way up until Liam sent me an email, and it's then that I learned that Ben and their parents applied a lot of pressure on Liam over and over again until he finally caved the night before the wedding. I asked him why he didn't just come to me, and he said to me that I was so stressed out and that he didn't want me to worry. Liam concluded by saying, "I want another chance. Please just give me another chance." Now, at this point, I'm really torn. I don't like that Liam went behind my back thanks to family pressure. That is not a good sign for our marriage. But on the other hand, I do still love him. And since he's a horrible horrible liar, I know he's telling the truth. I still haven't made up my mind about what I want to do. Is our marriage even salvageable? Can we even rebuild this? Liam is genuine, but can I somehow persuade him that a family should never do that to another member of their family? What should I do? Okay, this is actually insane to me. This is not only a massive betrayal of trust, but it is also super sketchy that they did this behind your back. They went around you completely and pressured Liam until he said yes, which is something you definitely did not want. Also, how do these people not know that you don't propose at someone else's wedding or like their reception? Like seriously, that is so disgusting to do to somebody, and for his family to pressure your husband like that is just so wrong. Like you would think that'd be something you're automatically just gonna say, no, we're not gonna do that, but apparently Ben and his stupid parents just don't see it. And that really is a shame, because this could seriously ruin your marriage. Like if this is not a clear indication that they can manipulate Liam into doing whatever they want, then I don't know what is. Like this is the biggest day of both of your lives, and they literally ruined it behind your back. And if they can do that on your wedding day, then who's to say they wouldn't do that in the future? They clearly know the exact buttons to push on Liam to get him to do whatever they want. Who's to say they wouldn't do that again and just stomp all over your boundaries? So honestly, this is a really sketchy situation. It sounds like your new extended family are just really toxic, and what's even worse is that they just don't care. They're happily posting pictures of Ben and his girlfriend getting engaged, all while ignoring the fact that you and Liam literally just got married that same day, and they're the ones that ruined that entire ceremony completely. So no, I don't think you're crazy for possibly wanting to get a divorce like right away, because what just happened to you is completely unacceptable. And in my opinion, this is a clear indication on how these people are going to act for the rest of your life. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. Am I the jerk for accusing my husband in front of his family of treating me like hired help instead of like his wife? Because right now he is very upset, and at this point I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 34-year-old female, and I've been married to my husband for 4 years, with us being together for 7.5 years, and we have 2 children together, one that's 2 years old and one that's 5 months old. My husband was married before we met, and he and his ex-wife separated during her pregnancy with their daughter and divorced after she turned 1. Now, to my stepdaughter, I am dad's wife, and I'm honestly completely okay with that. We get along fine mostly, but she does struggle to be left with me in charge, and my husband knows this. We have discussed this at length, and we have worked together to figure out some kind of solution. We even talked with his ex, who is okay with me being around her daughter, but didn't like the idea of her daughter being with me if instead she could be with her. And in general, just didn't like the fact that I would be in a parental role if alone with her kid. She has a very big dislike of the idea of step-parents becoming just like parents, and she has never wanted her daughter to view me as any kind of mother figure. So discussions were had and agreements were made. Now, on to the issue itself. My husband always has a very busy period of work in June and in July, and he's basically only home to sleep and nothing else. In June, his ex is having surgery and will be out of commission and in the hospital for some time. My ex's surgery was not mentioned to me at all, but Saturday night when we were at my in-laws' house, my husband started venting about his ex's surgery and her not wanting their daughter to be in my care all day, and his daughter not wanting to have me in charge of her that much, and how he told them I would be doing it and nothing they said or did would change this. He was angry at his ex and his daughter a little for having such a dislike for me being in charge, even though we all just get along fine. I asked him when all this happened, and he said it had been a few days ago. He told me that she would be with us from June 6th until July 4th, and possibly even longer, that he was already told he will need to work most Saturdays in June and July, so he told me I'll need to figure out how best to deal with that. Now, I asked him why he sprung this on me in front of his family instead of discussing this privately, but he just waved me off and said he knew I wouldn't say no because I love my stepdaughter and I understand that she needs to be with an adult. He saw an expression on my face and told me I couldn't be angry about it, since I know that my stepdaughter is still a kid. I told him I wasn't mad at her, I was mad at him, but he told me he can't help his ex and his daughter being somewhat unreasonable. My mother-in-law chimed in and offered to take my stepdaughter during the daytime for June, and he told her that I would handle it and that she should be with us. And this right here is when I accused him of treating me like a hired help and not as his wife, because he wasn't discussing it with me at all, and he was making decisions for me without even asking me or discussing things through. Well, fast fast forward, and it was afterwards that he told me I shouldn't speak to him like that in front of his family. So honestly, am I the jerk in this situation? Because seriously, I'm not sure what to do. No, you are definitely not the jerk. Your husband was completely out of line discussing this in public. This really does sound like a really private discussion, and it doesn't sound like something that anyone else in the family should know about. So if he's willing to embarrass you in front of the entire family, then in my opinion, you have every right to say something back in front of his. Like, why should he be the only one to basically put you down and treat you like hired help? Which is exactly what he did, by the way. He said, oh, don't worry about it, she's gonna take care of it. And it's like, wait a second, you're bringing this up in front of the family, and you're denying family members from being helpful and like chiming in? Like, no, that is not how this is gonna work. And he definitely does not have the right to embarrass you in front of them like that. So no, your husband is 100% at fault, because this is something he absolutely should have discussed in private. My entitled mother stole all of my money that I'd been saving for over a month. And when I confronted her about it, she simply complained that I'm still young and I don't even need the money anyways. And I'm honestly still blown away that she would do this, and at this point, I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So I've been working every single day for a month without a day off because I wanted to go on a vacation with my friends after graduation. I mean, I worked so hard for this. I was saving them in my drawer, and there is a lock on it, so wherever I go, I take the key with me. But today, unfortunately, my idiotic self forgot the key on the dining room table. I went to the bathroom to take a shower, and nobody was home except for me and my mother. My siblings were all at school having an exam. So when I finished showering, I saw the keys in my room, but I didn't really care. I thought maybe I moved them before I went to the bathroom. Then I prepared my desk to study, and when I finished studying, I thought to myself, maybe I can go hang out with some friends. So I opened my drawer to grab some money, but I was shocked to find that all of it was gone. Nothing was left. So obviously, nobody's home except for me and my mom. I go to her and I confronted her as calmly as I could, and I said to her, did you open my drawer? And I swear, I thought I saw her hand shaking as she said to me, no, I didn't. Why? I said to her, well, all of my money's gone. She said to me, I didn't take anything. Someone's stealing my money as well. Or maybe you just dropped it somewhere like you always do. You are pretty careless. I said to her, well, if someone's stealing your money, then why would you take mine? She then looked up at me and said, don't you dare talk to me like that. I'm your mother. Now close the door and get out of my sight before I pray that you fail your exams. What are you gonna do with money anyways? You're still young. Money comes and goes. And when she said this, I just didn't know what to say. I went back to my room and I texted my dad. And I told him exactly what happened, but I still haven't gotten a response back. My final exams are in 2 weeks, and I now can't work anymore. And my friends and I are planning that on the last day of the exam, we're going to be heading straight out to go on vacation. This is the first time in my entire life that I feel so helpless and betrayed like that. But you know what? After graduation, I'm moving out of my parents' home, even if I become homeless, because honestly, I simply don't care anymore. Wow, that's really awful that your mom basically stole your money. Like, she can sit there and deny it and be like, oh yeah, I didn't steal it. But like, seriously, you're the only person that could have done it in the house. Like, that stash of money didn't just grow legs and start running away. Plus, the keys were moved from the dining room table over to your room. Like, all the evidence really points to her, especially with how defensive she got when you're like, wait a second, why did you take my money? And she's like, oh, what are you gonna do with money? You're so young. And it's like, what are you talking about? There are so many things I plan on doing with that money, and one of those is moving out of this house. So truly, I'm so sorry that you lost that money, and maybe in the meantime, it might be time to see if you can set up some kind of bank account so this can't happen again. Because what happened to you truly is not fair, and you do not deserve it in the slightest. My manager has said awful things about a brand new employee literally on the first day of her training, and I am seriously so glad that I'm getting out of that job, because this kind of behavior is absolutely unacceptable. Here's what happened. Okay, so everything about my job just rubs me the wrong way. I have an interview somewhere else tomorrow, so I'm just here to talk about this because it honestly really bothered me. The new hire looked really young, and since she was training for host, I assumed that this was one of her first jobs and she still is in school or something like that. And truly, all of our hosts are in school and started hosting to become servers. I said hi and asked her when she started, and she told me that today was her first day. She seemed a bit shy and timid, which is understandable being young and at a new job, possibly one of her first. Well, the hosts and all the other support staff went home, and as we were doing our checkout, the manager starts talking about the new girl, and they said, oh, I didn't see her do a thing tonight. It looked like she did a whole bunch of nothing. And I was just standing there like, is this guy serious? What else did you expect from someone who was training and watching on their first day? Our hosts also don't just hang around and sit people all night, but they also help bus tables, they reset the tables, they sweep, they clean between menus after each use, as well as several other things. And I saw her cleaning menus and setting tables. There's also a point of sale system behind the host stand that servers use, so it can get crowded and overwhelming back there at times. He started saying jokingly, well, maybe I missed it. Did you guys see her do anything today? And was even asking the other servers that same question. And I just felt so disgusted. And additionally, his idiotic self was upstairs and out of sight for like 80% of the night. So how in the world would he know anyways? Like, was he trash talking me on my first week to my coworkers? Because honestly, that's likely so. It's one thing to think that, but it's another to vocalize it in front of that person's coworkers, as well as to your employees. That is honestly just so unprofessional and so childish. Wow, I can't imagine actually doing that to one of your employees who's literally new to the job. Like, this is their first day on the job and you're like, wow, I didn't see them do a single thing all day. But it's like, yeah, no kidding, buddy. Maybe you didn't train her or do anything to help her out. Like, that really is disgusting and toxic. No wonder the original poster's interviewing literally anywhere else. Like, if that was my work environment, there's no way I would stick around. So truly, good job for the original poster for getting out of there, because these people sound absolutely awful. My entitled neighbor gets caught letting his dog go to the bathroom in my yard and then cusses me out as soon as I confront him. Here's what happened. So about a week ago, I noticed dog droppings all throughout my front yard and on my front porch. And since I don't have a dog, I kept trying to figure out who it was. Anyways, I work from home on different days of the week, but I park in the garage so it looks like no one is home. Well, early yesterday morning, I see one of my neighbors letting his dog walk through my yard, urinate, and then leave, which is honestly not really a big deal for me. I don't really have a problem with that. But around lunchtime yesterday, as I'm sitting in a meeting, I see him walking across the street into my yard again, and this time with his leash off, and his dog just poops in my yard. And then after that, he walks back across the street and then goes inside. I then decide to set up by the window to catch him in the act later in the afternoon. And a few hours later, he came back out with the same routine. He went right across the street into my yard. So I immediately open the door and I calmly tell him that he needs to keep his dog out of my yard and he needs to clean up after him. Well, instead of apologizing, this guy starts yelling and cussing me out, claiming that he was in his house first and his dog has a routine that she doesn't need to break. He then tells me that I should be at work instead of being lazy at home. He said he watches me leave and doesn't know how I afford a house when apparently I only work 2 days a week, but those 2 days are when I'm in the office. After this, he tells me that he's lucky his dog didn't attack me because she doesn't like being startled. Then today I go outside and I find 3 bags of poop sitting on my front porch. Now I call the non-emergency sheriff line to let them know that I'm having issues, but I am beginning to think that this guy might be off his rocker. Yeah, that is not normal behavior. I would definitely be calling the police as well because that is so unacceptable. So seriously, I'm so sorry you're dealing with this, and hopefully something can get figured out sooner than later. My entitled managers refused to give me my days off that I'm requesting simply because I was trying to be nice and said that I would be willing to work in the mornings if needed. But now after all is said and done, I am left feeling extremely frustrated. And at this point, I really just need to find another job. Here's what happened. So my restaurant got tired of people having a life and requesting days off, so they made a rule where you can't request 1 or 2 days off, and instead you have to request at least 3 days off. If you just want 1 or 2 days off, you have to wait until that week's schedule comes out and then try to get someone to cover your shift, which by the way is almost impossible since the restaurant is open 5 days a week and almost everybody works every single day. And I'm pretty sure this is the policy just to discourage people from requesting time off. So I requested 3 days off like I'm supposed to, so that I could go to a 3-day concert event with my friend. However, the venue is close by, and the concert starts at around 7 o'clock every single night. So I figured I'd just drive there every night. So I wrote on my request form that I can work the lunch shift if I need to, because I figured, what the heck, if they need me, I could still be on the schedule. Well, today an assistant manager comes to me and says that my request off wasn't approved, and if I wanted to go, I would have to get people to cover my shift. I said to them, wait, why didn't I get the time off? I requested 3 days off like the rules say. She said to me, yeah, but you said you could work the lunch shift, and we don't let people choose their schedules. But I said to her that I just did that so that you guys wouldn't have a hard time filling the shift. And if you know there's people to cover my shift, why don't you just schedule them for those shifts? She just looked at me and said, you should have just asked for the whole days off. I don't write the schedule. I asked another assistant manager, and he said the exact same thing. Like, they even have the ability to cover my shifts easily, but they just don't want to do it. Now, as a note, they almost always schedule me for lunch shifts on weekends already, and it's been that way since the first week that I've worked there. So basically, the fact that I offered to work on those days is the reason I got denied. So I put in another request today, not offering to work those days, and I'm expecting to be denied because it will make the owner look stupid if she gives it to me now. If she doesn't, I might just approach her and ask her to explain it to me, because there's no possible answer that she can give me that doesn't make her look like a complete idiot. I mean, I was a manager for over a decade, and I can say that writing the schedule does suck, but I still did it, and I tried to let employees have their request off if possible. But overall, I'm just completely sick of this, and at this point, I seriously just need to find another job. Yeah, that place sounds awful. There is literally no reason why they couldn't just give you those 3 days off. Like, this really is some kind of like manager BS, where they only kept you on the schedule because you gave them an option to keep you on the schedule. Like, here you are trying to be nice, and they took complete advantage of it and said, okay, you're just gonna work then. Sorry, I don't control the schedule. Like, that's such a cop-out, it's not even funny. So yeah, I hope you find that new job, because this restaurant that you work at sounds absolutely awful. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.